Hello, my fellow fans of the small. I'm Laura Blair, and this is Tiny Worlds, Big Stories. Here we celebrate the artists who craft small-scale magic, miniature makers, diorama dreamers, and dollhouse designers, and uncover the stories and creativity that bring these tiny worlds to life. Whether you build tiny scenes or simply love them, welcome. Today's guest is someone whose work stopped me mid-scroll, and honestly, that doesn't happen very often anymore. Emma Oberle, the artist behind Emma Bug Studio, creates these tiny, incredibly detailed dioramas using actual dead bugs. And somehow, against all odds, they're not creepy, they're clever, they're funny, and they're deeply human in a way that makes you laugh and lean in at the same time. But what I love even more is how this all came to be. Emma didn't set out to build a business around bugs. She was a creative kid raised in a house where making things was just part of her life. Paper, clay, sewing, anything she could get her hands on. She went on to study at SCAD thinking she'd become a painter and instead fell in love with writing, something that honestly makes a lot of sense when you see how narrative her work is now. And then, like so many good stories, hers really begins in a hard moment. Fresh out of school during COVID, living alone in a new city, working a job she didn't love, Emma turned to making things as a way to cope. It started with painting plant pots, which turned into molds, which turned into frames, and then, through a mix of curiosity, timing, and a box of dead bugs gifted to her at Christmas, yes, really, it turned into work that so many people are now completely obsessed with. What she's created in this really unique blend of humor and craftsmanship, tiny domestic scenes starring insects that feel oddly relatable. And what's so refreshing is that she's not overthinking it. She's not trying to make some grand statement about mortality or meaning. She's making things that are playful, a little weird, and genuinely joyful. And alongside all of that, she's also building a business, navigating social media, working a full-time job, managing her health, and figuring out, like so many artists, how to stay connected to the joy of making without burning out. So today, we're going to talk about all of it. The bugs, obviously, the mugs, the path that led her here, and what it looks like to build a creative life that doesn't fit neatly into one lane, but somehow it works anyway. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you. I'm a huge fan. So where'd you get Bug from? Who started calling you Bug? When you were little?
Mom, when I was little, would always call me Bug. And then when I was in college, my friends started calling me Bug or Emma Bug. And then
Yeah.
kind of took off from there. So that's where the name came from.
I love it. I love it. I have a daughter, Katie Bug, Ladybug. That's what we called her all the way through. Wasn't quite as accepting of the name as you are. Okay. So I want to know, like, were you creative as a child? Did you make art all the time? And did you study art in school? Tell us that part of your life.
Absolutely. I was lucky that my mom is super creative. And so, like, we always had a designated art room in our house for my mom's art.
Cool.
And she's really mostly into sewing, but she did like scrapbooking and knitting and all the things when I was growing up. So when I was a kid, like the best way to shut me up and like get me out of her hair was to just be like, here, like take this paper and make something with it, you know? So I was fortunate that she was so supportive and encouraging of my creativity. So I grew up doing all the art, everything you could imagine, like paper crafts and clay crafts and knitting and sewing and crochet and like all the things. I would just tinker and make things. And so my mom was super.
Did you want to be an artist? Did you go to college or go to school, or in high school did you do a bunch of art? Like, what was your thing there?
Yeah. I think it was pretty obvious from a young age that art was the only real option for me. It was one of those things of just everyone's like, you're gonna be an artist, and I was like, okay. So I did go.
You were born an artist.
Yeah, I mean,
That's really cool.
Yeah, meant to be. So, yeah, I went to art school. I went to Savannah College of Art and Design.
I love SCAD. That's a great school. Awesome.
Yeah, yes, it was a great time. I actually ended up with a writing degree, which most people are really surprised when I say that.
I'm not. Your posts are very poetic. I could see that.
Thank you. Yeah, I originally went to school because I was like, I want to be a painter. Like, painting is my first love. So I was like, I went in fully anticipating getting like a painting degree. And then I got there and I was like, there's just so much art everywhere and there's so many options and so many things to explore. And so I started taking, like, acting classes and writing classes and all the things, just all the
Wow.
anywhere they would take me. I was like, I just wanna try everything. Um, and so I ended up getting a writing degree because I just fell in love with reading scripts and writing scripts, and, I figured that might be more useful than a painting degree, which, maybe isn't so true, but yeah.
Oh, I think it depends on the person. I think you've done just fine. Okay, so we gotta go to the obvious. Gotta talk about the bugs,
Yes.
which I love. Okay, so that's what pulled me in and to the I mean, because I make miniature things and
Mhm.
they're tiny and I love the tininess of
So
it. And
cute.
I mean, yeah, just we're gonna talk about that too, but it brought me in. So these are incredibly detailed scenes with little dead bugs. If you are listening, you have to hop, skip, and jump over to YouTube because I'm putting pictures. You've got to see this art to believe it. So you got to go over there. How did that start? I know you mentioned you weren't super happy like in 2021 where you were in your job. Like how did
Mhm.
this come about?
Well, so I started Emma Bug Studio making plant pots because I was living in Atlanta at the time. I graduated school in 2020 and the world was just, crazy and
Sorry.
unpredictable and scary. And so I mean, all my friends from school were either moving to LA, moving to New York, or moving back in with their parents. And none of those were really an option for me. I couldn't afford New York or LA, and I couldn't move back in with my parents at the time. So I was like, I guess I'll just move in, or I'll just move to Atlanta because it's closest, the closest big city. Um, and I didn't know anyone there. I had no
Oh,
connections. I was just, like, in a really weird, you know, scary time of not knowing what to do next, so
well, COVID didn't help that
well,
because
yeah,
it just messed everything. And you couldn't see anyone's face like all through. I can't imagine like your senior year must have all
it was all
been
online.
with masks. Oh, so
Mhm.
sorry.
It
That
was all
sucks. Because with
online.
school like that, you got to go. You got to
Right,
be there,
right.
right? Yeah, you got shortchanged for sure.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
graduation was online, and it was just, and then they're
Oh,
like, "Go out, go into the world, pursue your dreams," and it's like, I don't know what's happening.
wow. I haven't talked to anybody that had that experience before with art school. I don't know how you do art school online. I
Yeah.
can't even
I mean, I
imagine.
guess I was lucky because I was a writing degrees, which is easier to do online, but,
Right.
imagine being a fashion major and you can't. Yeah, it was a crazy time.
So you were miserable. You're in Atlanta, kind of figuring it out.
I
And
was just
then,
miserable. I was working at Whole Foods, like, 6 days a week, and I hated it, and so
hmm.
I was like my whole life was just going to work and then coming back to my apartment alone and just being so depressed and anxious.
Oh, that makes my mom heart
And I
just
was like,
break.
and, like, I've always been the person of, like, when I'm stressed and when I'm sad, like, I just need to make something about it. Just
Mhm,
need to
mm.
focus on my anxious energy into making something. I started just I went to Home Depot and bought some plant pots and painted them just to put in my apartment and make myself feel better. And then I started posting them and I got really good feedback and people were like, "These are so cute," and
They're beautiful.
yeah, "Can you make me one?" And I was like, "Okay, I have nothing better to do." And it just kinda spiraled from there. I started sculpting on them and painting them, and I made an Etsy. I never, like, really intended to make a business out of it, but it just kind of happened, and it was truly the only thing, like, bringing me joy at that time, so I was just, like, headfirst in it. And so from there, I learned how to make molds for my plant pots and pouring cement to mass produce them, make them a lot quicker. And
Mhm,
so once I had that skill down of making silicone molds, I was like, well, what else can I make with this method? Um, and so I had the idea to make frames, like shadow box frames, with
mhm.
the same method of making a mold of a frame. And well, I sculpted frames and then made a mold. And then I was like, well, what do I put in these frames now that I've learned how to make them? And I have to give a big shout out. There's an artist on Etsy called Bug Under Glass. Shout out to Bug Under Glass because I found their work several years ago and just was like obsessed. I was like, this is just like
Aw.
cutest, like, they make very simple like, a simple plain frame with, like, one bug in the middle that's, like the first one I saw was a bug on a motorcycle, and it's titled Weevil Knievel, and I was like, I was like, "I need to have it." I was like, "I don't know."
Talented and clever.
I was like, it brought me so much joy in my dark time, and I was like, "I need to own
Oh.
this piece of like, a bug on a motorcycle." It just brought me so much joy, and so I bought that one. It's on the wall behind me somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I can see
A
it. There
little
it
one
is.
there.
That's so cool.
And I own a bunch more of their frames now, but I was like at that time, I hadn't even, like, registered that I could make something like that, but I just knew that that brought me so much joy because I was already collecting bugs, I have bug frames everywhere.
Right. I mean, how convenient, right? That's who you are. So I could see why that was natural progression.
Yeah, and then I figured out how to make the frames with cement, and then actually my fiance's family, one Christmas, they gifted me just a box of dead bugs for Christmas.
That is the nicest thing anyone's ever given you, right?
You get it. And they were like, "You're creative. Make something with these." And I was like,
So you started with a whole bunch of dead
"Yeah,
bugs,
yeah." I was given.
and none of them knew they were going to be stars in your art.
I know.
How
And so
exciting
then I'm
is
like, "Okay,
that?
I have this box of dead bugs. What do I do with them?" And then I thought to my bug under glass pieces that I love so much, and the frames that I'd already figured out how to make. And I was like, "Well, surely
Mm.
I can fuse these ideas together." And so I made my first one of a little bug with a paintbrush painting on an easel. And I mean, I couldn't believe the reaction I got online. Well,
Really?
well,
On your little self-portrait?
people loved it, and
Yeah.
like fully didn't think anyone was gonna care about because I'd only been making plant pots, up to that point. So I was like,
I'm one of those people. It stopped me in my tracks.
this is really
It's not
cool.
just the bug, it's like you're so clever with your scenes.
Thank you.
And so, oh, it's so thoughtful and fun. And it also, I think when you have that kind of art, it shows who's behind it.
Mhm.
And I think people want to know you when they think you're fun and clever and silly. I mean, okay, so you got these bugs and you started doing these scenes.
Mhm.
And there's something a little unsettling about them, which is so fun because they are dead bugs.
Mhm.
It's they're creepy, but they're hilarious, and I think that's kind of the common way a lot of people feel about it. Do you come up with the concept first and then put the bug in the scene? Or do you look at a bug and go, he needs to be in a bathroom. He needs to be buying a girl a drink.
It's usually the idea first, the concept of what the scene is gonna be, and then it's a matter of finding a bug that'll fit in that scene. Uh,
You audition the bugs, you take them
yeah,
out and see how they fit.
Well,
Yeah.
because as you can imagine, dead bugs are very fragile, and they're very
Yeah.
so it's like, certain bugs I've learned work better, like, I usually work with weevils because they position better without breaking the legs off. So and then
Interesting.
anything with, like, wings is really hard to work with because the wings are so fragile and get in the way.
Like, yeah, paper. So did you use all the bugs that they gave you and you had to start finding other ones?
Yeah, I used all those beads, and then now I've found many different suppliers. You'd be surprised all the places you can.
Oh, I'm not. I know. I just feel like you can find anything, especially small
I've
things.
had people just bring me dead bugs that they found, and I'm like, "Okay. Alright, I'll use
Oh,
them."
yeah. Do you find them ever? Do you find them anywhere ever?
I don't really find I found, like, a couple in the garage of, like, "This might work," but they also have to be properly preserved, and I don't really do all that, so it's easier to just
That's the whole
yeah,
process.
it's easier to just buy them already preserved and ready to go.
Got it. Okay. And then they star in your scenes.
Mhm.
So when you're building a scene, you have a concept, you build the scene, and then you put the bug in to position it. Am I right with that?
I'll usually map out, exactly what little furniture or whatever needs to go in there, and then how I'll fit the bug in later. The bug is like the last step typically.
Star comes in. Are you working with tons of different mediums, or is it just mostly clay? I'm looking at your pieces. I'm trying to. I know how you do your frames and your shadow boxes, which is brilliant, by the way, because I do little art too, and I 3D print them, and it's such a pain in the butt. It's so
I
much
was
easier what you're doing.
wondering how you make yours.
Oh my god! Yeah, I was like, why did I not think of that? That's brilliant.
Mm,
So clay, I would imagine polymer clay.
I use a lot of polymer clay for like the furniture and stuff. A lot of like toothpicks, some like really thick paper sometimes to make like the little miniature frames inside the frame. Wire
And you get to paint.
and
You get to paint the
they're
paintings.
smaller than I ever thought I'd be working with, but it
It came back
came
around.
back
It just
around.
came back around smaller. No, totally. So do you ever get attached to a certain piece you don't wanna sell?
Oh, totally. All the time. I do usually end up selling them because I'm like, I can't keep them
It
all.
is a business.
Yeah, I've got to go, but I do regret not keeping my very first bug frame. I did sell that one and I'm like, now that it's turned into what it's turned into, I'm like, it would have been nice to
You didn't know.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you remember that moment? Okay, so you post it online and you get this incredible reaction, which is so lovely to hear that it was so hard for you at that time and
Mhm.
you're looking for joy, and then you find all these people who are finding joy from you, which
Mhm.
is cool. Do you remember when it started? You're making these bugs, you also have your mugs and your faces. When did it go, "Oh my gosh, I've got a business on my hands?" Do you remember that moment?
Yeah, I'd say, well, there's probably 2 big moments. The first being when I took my business off of Etsy and made my own website, 'cause, like,
Ah,
my Etsy took off pretty quickly, which I don't even know
yeah,
how. I don't I don't know how that happened, but
I do.
I was just, like, all of a sudden, like, selling a lot on Etsy, and I was like, "Oh, no, I can't keep up." And that was just with the plant pots, and then I was like, "Okay, I guess it's time to make a website and just, really do this. Like, if I'm gonna do it, I should just do it." And so I think
Mhm.
committing to making a website and figuring out how to do shipping and all of that on my
Yeah.
own was like the first big step of like, oh, I'm doing this.
Mm.
Like, this is a real thing now. And then there was one, I don't remember exactly like what post it was. Something I posted a few years ago, like really blew up, like went really viral for the first time. And I gained a lot of followers very quickly. Like,
It's crazy. Yeah.
overnight, I had, like, 10,000 new followers, and I was like, "Oh my god." I was
Wow.
so overwhelmed because I was just not prepared for that, like, I just had no idea that was gonna happen.
How did you do supply and demand? How did you keep it so it wasn't like a factory for you, that it still felt like art?
That's always been a struggle for me, is the balance of, like, I wanna please everybody, and I wanna, like, every request that comes in, every, like, commission, I'm like, I have to do it because, it just I can't turn people
Mhm.
away, and that's been a hard thing to realize that I also need to take care of myself and leave time for other things. Yeah, I think when I really started doing commissions and like custom orders is when I was like, okay, I need to set limits and like know my
Mm,
boundaries and know what is actually achievable without totally burning myself out
and price it right
and price
so that you
right.
don't have that crazy, gotta keep the machine going. Are you in a good spot now? Do you feel like it's pretty leveled out now for you?
Yeah, I think online sales have slowed quite a bit this year, which I've also just kind of taken a step back from social media quite a bit, which I think there's a direct correlation there. But I kind of just needed to take a step back and like breathe. I have another job, I have a day job too. So I'm like, back.
Oh, you do? Oh my gosh, you have a day job too? I didn't know
I
that.
work full
Oh,
time.
that's a lot.
So, I used to work part-time and focus on my art a lot of, when I wasn't at my part-time job, but now I'm back to working full-time at my other job, so I'm like, Emma Bug Studio is kind of taken a little bit of a step back just for my mental
Sure.
health and financial stability and everything.
I get it, I get it. Well, and also you don't wanna lose the love of the art
Exactly.
because that's how you started it in the first place, and I've talked to so many people, miniaturists in particular, because 'cause they're making fun things for other miniaturists, but
Mhm.
it just gets to the point where, like, because I know a lot of people like to make one of something, and then you've gotta make something else that's similar or, stuff like that. It's difficult. The bugs. So is there something, like, deeper layer in there in terms of mortalities or just for fun?
Just for fun. I don't like to think too hard about the meaning of anything. It's just simple and it makes people smile, and that's what's cool about it.
I figured. It comes across really well in your work, all the pieces, because they are so joyful and fun. Okay, so I'm thinking you have a pretty specific sense of humor. I'm just picturing that. What do you like just in regular day life outside of your fun art?
Just to do or, like, what I do in
Just
my
in general. Yeah, if someone's gonna describe you, yeah.
well, we go out a lot. We've moved around a lot, so I move every few years, just life, you know? So I feel like I'm constantly trying to, like, establish myself where I am and make
Mhm.
connections so I don't feel isolated again. Um, and so, we've lived in the Nashville area for a few years now, and so I finally started to feel like, okay, I have a support system here, I've made friends, I'm finding my grounds here, so I try to make an effort to go out and have fun and see my friends and take a step back from work, and
Mm.
that's important to me.
Do you like to make art by yourself? Is it always something you do on your own, or do you like to do it with others?
Mostly by myself so far. I would love to collaborate more, but I need to, I guess, make new
Yeah?
connections.
Well, and it takes time, and when you're doing 2 jobs, it's very
Yeah.
difficult, I can see. What's the best reaction you've ever gotten from one of your pieces? Either your faces or your bugs or whatever you make?
Uh, I mean, doing in-person markets is always really interesting because I've discovered I have to be real picky about which kind of markets I participate in because my
Yep.
stuff requires a very specific audience. Um, because I've done markets where not the right audience, and so people will walk by and they're like, "Ew, is that a bug?" Like, yeah, like, it's more of a
Not your people.
not my people, right?
That's all. Not your people.
Totally get it if it's not your thing, but still, I've had to learn, okay, I need to find my people. And so I've discovered doing like tattoo conventions and expos has been really beneficial for me because those are my people. They
Yeah.
like the weird stuff. They like the, decor that can go in their tattoo booths and stuff.
Oh, yeah. And you do tattoo bugs. Bugs getting tattoos, bugs giving tattoos. You have a whole series of those. They're so fun. How many tattoos do you have? Let me see one.
A
It's
lot.
beautiful. And you just like black, right? Just black,
I've got a
right?
little bit of color in a couple spots.
Oh, okay. Some cheek color there. Oh,
Yeah,
that's beautiful. Look at
mostly
that
black
one.
and gray, but yeah.
And you've liked them since you were young? I mean, you are
I
young, but I mean young, young.
I've always wanted tattoos, and my, fiancé is actually a tattoo artist, so there's a lot of overlap there in our
Perfect.
careers, yeah.
So your mugs and your bugs completely live separately? Like in terms of the making part, and do you just shift from one to the other, or is there any crossover?
I mean, I'd say the crossover is the method of, I pour cement in molds to make my pots, and I use plaster in molds to make my frames for the bugs, so there's overlap in how I work, and I paint them the same way. There's definitely some overlap, but, I mean, something I've struggled with is, like, all the things I wanna make are so different, and how do I tie them together?
Yeah, I understand that.
Uh,
But do you have to? Do you have to tie it together?
that's the thing. I've kind of learned of, like, if people see what I'm doing now and they don't like it because they followed me for the pots, then, like, that's fine. They can unfollow me. Like, I've learned to just accept that people that are on this journey with me will hopefully stay and can.
Can I read a quote of yours back to you?
Sure.
It's a really good one, and it's perfect for this, what you're saying. It says, "I'm confident that my creativity is my purpose in whatever medium or form that looks like." You said that.
Yeah.
That's a very wise for someone kind of
Totally.
early in their art career, because it doesn't have to be. I'm like that too, a jump around, and sometimes we get this whole we have to be this certain kind of artist, and you don't. You get to write the rules.
Mhm.
Your art, your rules. And you've obviously found your people. I think they will follow you with whatever you end up doing. And even if you take a break,
Mhm.
do you have that feeling when you are pulling back from social media? Do you have any FOMO, or is it like, can you pretty much release it?
Something I've had to learn. I mean, Instagram is so hard. The algorithm. I know you get it. It's it's like you stop posting for a little and then no one sees your posts ever again. So there's always that pressure of like, if I'm not consistent, if I'm not posting, then it's gonna ruin
Hmm.
everything. But I've had to learn to just, it's gonna be fine. The people that want to see my work will go out of their way to see my work, hopefully. And yeah, I'm learning to just accept that, social media side of things is gonna be what it's gonna be. My work is still gonna be there. I'm still gonna be making stuff, and hopefully people will still see it. I try to.
Well, I will tell you something that I've started lately that I've actually mentioned to a couple other people who have very specific work like yours. Pinterest is an amazing
Yeah.
place for people to find your work. I took a class because I just hate having to post all the time.
Mhm.
And I wanted to do it where it was evergreen because a pin is like a year and a half, the life of a pin, which is pretty
Okay.
long. And on Instagram, it's just gone. You post and it's gone. I'll send you the information
Okay.
because you do it every just a little bit each day, 10 minutes a day, get your stuff on there,
Mhm.
and then people will find it. It's so specific, like quirky art, fun art. I can think of so many search terms that would lead right to your kind
Mhm.
of work, and and you don't have to be on it. It's a search engine. It's not a social media platform, which is nice. Because I think we've gone so far in that, haven't we? It's so great because anyone can find us in the
Mhm.
world, but then there's this expectation to keep up with it and like you said, to stay with one kind of thing so people know you for what that is.
Mhm.
And that's not how artists operate. Like especially artists who go to schools like SCAD or like they go to the Parsons, they go to these big schools and there's a reason they throw all those wonderful mediums at you.
Mhm.
They want you to find your place. And do you think you'll ever go back to writing?
I would love to one day. I would love to write a book or write a play or write something and get back into it. It's always gonna be there. It's something I can always go back to. whether it gets
Yeah,
published or not, it's always just something that if I'm in the right headspace, I can jump right back into it, and so
you
maybe.
can. That's awesome. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Some narrative for some of your art, maybe.
maybe.
Is there a medium you haven't tried that you wanna do?
Well, I would love to get more into ceramics. I've done ceramics,
Ah,
but that's just such a tricky you need a kiln and you need a studio for that, and the materials, like, it's a whole it's not something that you
it's
can
a thing.
yeah, you can't really just do it in your house. You need the resources to do it,
Mhm,
and so
mhm.
one day I'd love to get more into ceramics because I have so many ideas that I'm like, "That would be so cool to make," but the only way it'll really work is if I just sculpt it by hand and can make it in a
And put
kiln.
it in a kiln. You're in Nashville, do you have a studio anywhere near you that you could go to?
I do, but it's a lot of them are like
It's just time.
you have to, like, have a membership with them, or you have to, do a certain number of intro classes before they'll even consider you for having a membership or, it's very you can't just kind of, "Hey, I wanna make something. Can I use your kiln?" It's harder than that.
You need a mentor. You need a mentor out there, someone who's just gonna fall in love with your art and wanna help you, one person.
That'd be
So anyone
cool.
out there in the Nashville area who wants a fabulous protege,
No.
I think Emma's the one. That would be good. I could see you doing that, finding
'Cause I get
someone.
asked all the time if I can make mugs, and I would love to make mugs, but I can't make mugs with cement because that's not food safe, so I'm like, the only way is ceramic, so someday I'd love to offer mugs, but for now it's plant pots.
That's brilliant. You went the route that you could, with what you've got right
Yeah.
now. I see totally see ceramics in your future. So this whole tiny thing, what do you think that's about? Like you made your cute little bug things small. You like little things? Is that kind of where you live in terms
I
of
do like little things, which I never sh my cat, I'm sorry.
Hi, kitty.
It's funny because my mom would always joke with me whenever we'd go to, like, a thrift store or something when I was a kid, I'd always like, the dollhouse stuff. I was like, "Mom, can I buy this little chair?" And she'd be like, "What are you gonna do with that?" "No." And I just was always drawn to, like, little things, and she'd always joke, "Oh, you love things that are smaller versions of other things." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." And then I've discovered it's not just me. A lot of people like small little miniatures.
Everybody listening to this right now.
Yeah. That's all it's a thing, it's not
It's
just
a
me.
thing.
It's
What I love about yours is it's so unique. Your art is it's small and it's miniature, it's tiny, but it's narrative, it tells a story, it's funny,
Mhm.
and it's you, like, you're that's your nickname. It's such a great angle on the miniature thing. That's what I loved about it. It's so unique to you. Every miniaturist has got their thing.
Mhm.
The dollhouses, the dioramas, or whatever, and yours is very unusual and very cool,
Thank you.
and you gotta own that. There's a reason why so many people overnight were enthralled because the world's a scary place,
Yeah,
and we need the bug art.
we need the
Emma, we need the
bugs.
bug art. We really do.
Asked me to do this, I was like I had that imposter syndrome of like, "Am I a miniature artist? I guess I am," but, I was like, I don't know.
It's just small scale. Yeah, I consider it small scale. You work with something small and you make art. That's the only stipulation to be on here, and I've loved jumping around and talking to so many different artists because it really can take a different form for everybody.
Yeah.
And the art school thing, I'm finding there's a thread with you guys. Like, you like to do different things because you were introduced to so many different things,
Mhm,
and it's a nice when you work with building a diorama, whether it's clay or whatever, you get to use lots of different skills and different mediums
mhm,
sometimes because 'cause you're doing painting
mhm.
and you're doing clay and you're doing, forming with the cement with the mold and bug curation. That's really important, right? Auditioning the bugs for the scenes. I feel like it's just you're making something small, but it's delightful. That's the only thing. It needs to be small and delight
There
people.
you
Those are the
go.
only stipulations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've had some health stuff too, like you've been
Mhm.
sick and so did making art help you? Did it help you heal? Or was
Yeah.
it just one more thing you felt like you had to get back to?
Yeah, that's been another interesting part of this journey that I never expected. I was diagnosed with endometriosis a few years ago. I
Ah,
mean, I knew something was wrong for a long time, but it's unfortunately one of those chronic illnesses that takes a long time to diagnose. And so, once I got my diagnosis and had to figure out what my treatment plan was going to be, unfortunately,
yeah.
there's no cure, but I decided I needed to have surgery, multiple surgeries. I was like,
Oh man.
it was kind of serendipitous that, when this was all happening, I just happened to already be part-time at my job at the time to focus on my art. And I was like, okay, well, I've already, you know, gone down to a very small amount of hours at my day job to focus on my art. And now being able to make my art and make money from my art has allowed me a way to still make money while I'm recovering and figuring out my health stuff. And so I
Mhm.
was so lucky that at that time, I had to take several weeks off of work after my surgery and recover and everything. And I was just like, any day that I had the energy and was feeling up to it, I could just hobble over to my studio and just work on whatever I could work on. And it just, like I said, whenever I'm sad or stressed or not feeling well, like art just makes me feel better. It's just a way for me to relieve
Mhm.
all the negative feelings. So I was like so lucky that I could have that outlet and that income when I couldn't physically work. And, um,
Yeah.
that's going to be something that's helpful to me for the rest of my life.
It's a great gift to have something to have the making thing, or to have that as part of your life
Mhm.
because it does serve you in so many ways and it brings joy to others. It's
Mhm.
kind of twofold,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to be great at math, but I don't see how I would help anybody with that.
Yeah. I mean, just
You know, I read the best T-shirt the other day. It says, "I've crunched all the numbers and the answer is art." That's the planet. That's the planet I live on. Oh my goodness. Well, I just want to acknowledge how much you've done and just all of this having a day job and doing all the things like and you're so young. I love to see people in your 20s, right?
Mhm.
I'd love to see because my girls are 24 and 25 and I love to see you guys making your way because it's different. It's different than we did it. In a lot of
Mhm.
ways it's better. Like you're taking care of you, and what you want to do with
Mhm.
your life. There's no script, which is nice. And you can write a script if you want, which is basically what you're doing for all your stuff. So I love not only your art, you just seem like a delightful person
Thank
as
you.
well.
And can I just say
Oh,
I love your posts. Your posts brighten my day every time your
oh,
inspirational posts and, like, it's always just what I needed to hear? I love it.
oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you for saying that. That's
Yeah.
very
No, it
nice.
really makes my day.
Thank you. One person gets it. That's good. All right. So this is my favorite question. What did little Emma love that grown up Emma gets to honor through this work?
I guess I don't know if curiosity is the right word, but
Mhm.
I've always been a person that, if I'm at a thrift store and I find any little tchotchke or anything, and I don't know why I need it, but I need it and I'll do something with it. And, with the work I do now, I actually can just make something with it and someone will probably hopefully buy it. And, and even,
Oh,
even if they don't, I have the tools now and the self-confidence. I'm gonna buy that dead bug, and I will find a use for it, and someone's gonna get it and understand it.
you have to come to Portland and go to the store that we have in Northwest Portland. It's taxidermy.
Mhm.
It's pretty famous. It's got all this crazy stuff under glass, and I think you would appreciate it. It's a very curiosity rich
Love
place.
it.
A little creepy, but also pretty cool. I'll have to put in the show notes. It's a great place. And I think also what you were saying about the whole message is art can make you feel better.
Mhm.
You can make it for yourself and others. And it's okay to be curious and it's okay to collect things. I always call it like the magpie syndrome,
Uh-huh.
look something shiny, you're going to pick it up. And I think miniaturists, they see the beauty in the tiny
Yeah,
things.
for sure.
And it's a gift. It really is. Well, I just wish you the best and I can't wait to see what you do
Thank
next.
you so much.
I feel like you're just getting started. You're just getting started and you go at your own pace. There are no
Who
rules.
I don't know what's to come with Emma Bug Studio, but,
I'm excited to see. I'll be waiting with bated breath. All right. Thank you so much. You take care of yourself, your health. Take care.
I will. I will.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. If you loved this episode, make sure you're subscribed on Apple or Spotify podcasts or the YouTube channel so you don't miss the stories and wisdom these incredible artists share. I'd love to see you inside my newsletter, Small by Design. On YouTube, just tap the link in the description. On Apple Podcasts, scroll to the bottom of the show notes. You can follow along on Instagram at Laura Blair Art Studio for my art and at Tiny Worlds Big Stories for podcast updates. If you're feeling generous, a 5-star rating helps other miniature fans find the show. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time in another tiny world with a big story.